Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sparing your time with us today. I sincerely hope that all of you are well alongside your family and loved ones. So, for this morning, you will be spending your half an hour with me, your Abdul Haq, your system consultant. Okay, let's move on to our main agenda today, which is to introduce the new version of our system. It is now currently in third version. So the system will now move on to its new phase, which is our new user interface to revamp and refresh the looks alongside additional features that will be enjoyed by the users. We will first start with the objective of this presentation, followed with the expected outcome, and then proceed with new management dashboard. Only after that, we will move on to the system walkthrough. So let's begin with the objective of this presentation. The first objective is to brief users to clear cache on their devices. This is to ensure the device is fit and ready to receive the updates. Second is to brief users on our new management dashboard, which is useful for the top management. And lastly, to have an overview of the system to familiarize users with the new system interface. At the end of the presentation, users are expected to be able to perform the clear cache action to prepare their device to receive the new updates. The users are also expected to receive the idea of our brand new features, so it will be beneficial to the related users. And lastly, the users are expected to familiarize themselves with the system based on the system walkthrough that we will conduct later on. So let's begin with the first step, which is to prepare to receive the updates. An email from BuildSpace will be sent out once the updates are ready to be received by the users. The updates are expected to be rolled out by mid of June. So to prepare device for these updates, we are required to conduct an action called cache clearing. So let's begin with the action. First and foremost, we go to the browser of choice. Take for example, for this time, we choose Google Chrome. So in the Google Chrome interface, we go to the right hand side over here. We can see the three buttons. Click on the three buttons and then go to history. Click on history. Alternatively, we can straight away push Ctrl H on our keyboard. And then we go to the left hand side over here. We can see the clear browsing data button. Click on this button. And then we will be greeted with this new pop-up window. So make sure we tick on the cookies and other site data, as well as cache image and files. Now please set the time range to all time, like so, and then click on clear data. This action, depending on the size of the accumulated cache file image inside the device, it may take a few seconds and up to a few minutes for this action to be completed. So basically, we are finished with the Google Chrome clearing cache. So now we will take a look at how to clear cache on Mozilla, on Firefox. Okay, so let's take a look at Firefox. So take, for example, this is the interface after we log in into Firefox. So what we can do now is we click on this button that looks like stacks of book together. So click on this one, go to history, click on clear recent history, and then tick on cookies, cache, and also this site preference and offline website data is optional. And also please set the time range in this case to everything and then click OK. Similar to the one inside Google Chrome just now, we can see it may take a few seconds and up to a few minutes to complete. Moving on to the system view, we will be greeted with the familiar login page depending on our company's customized login page, of course. So we type in our login details and enter the system by click on sign in button over here. So welcome everyone to BuildSpace version 3. We will be greeted with this fresh, mostly white and blue interface for a more contemporary look to complement our upcoming from the few months of idling industry. So we take a look at our new navigation pane, which usually located on the top, now repositioned to the side to give way for a better navigation throughout the system, and also a better working screen real estate as the pane can be minimized to give a bigger viewing area, which is useful when multitasking or viewing multiple complicated data on a single screen. Let's move on to the new to-do list, which is located up here and separated by tendering to-dos and post-contract to-dos. This side-by-side orientation and numbers of days highlighted gave us a better view of the list, thus alerting us on the tasks needed to be completed on a targeted day. Scrolling down, we can see the numbers of project by statuses is laid out nicely in a pie chart and table form for percentage and numerical statistics respectively, for us to have an idea of a real-time movement of a company in terms of project management. Now moving on to our new features, which is the dashboard over here. Basically, the idea of dashboard is to deliver a better overview of the project status, giving relevant information at a glance for the project or business owner. This feature, however, is available for the top management officials to enjoy, as the information available inside this dashboard sometimes is relevant only to the top management. So for this, we can see the overview dashboard, followed with the subsidiary dashboard, and lastly, the status summary dashboard. So let's take a look at the dashboard inside the system by clicking on the overview. So this is overall dashboard. This is basically displays the overall spending across various subsidiaries. The first chart here indicates that the overall budget against awarded contract sum and variation order. To the left, we can see chart view, and to the right, the numerical value of what is represented in the bar chart on the left. Scrolling down, we can view the budget across different work categories. Below is the overall savings and overrun based on contract and based on work categories. Then the certified payment based on time, and lastly, the cumulative cost up to date. So we move on to the subsidiary dashboard by clicking on the subsidiary button over here. We click to generate list for the following subsidiaries. Basically, in this dashboard, we can observe the list of subsidiaries involved in the development, and below is the total budget against awarded contract sum and variation orders by subsidiaries for both numbers and bar chart for visual comparison. Scrolling further down, we can see the total savings and overrun of the work categories by subsidiaries, and the chart which represents the data tabulated in the table right above it. Lastly, we can discover a list of total budget versus awarded contract sum and variation order according to work categories by subsidiaries. The overall subsidiary dashboard is basically to give top management the ability to observe and process the information on performance by each subsidiaries at a glance, and able to compare the real-time data alongside other subsidiaries as well. In other words, this dashboard is used to evaluate the cost performance for subsidiaries. So let's move on to have a further discovery on the new interface by visiting the project. So we click on the project button right over here, and then we can see the list of projects and also the statuses similar to the one we have previously. This is to add a user familiarity for them to use this system without needing to have an additional variable trainings. So let's take a look at one of the project that I've already prepared. Cadangan menyiapkan sebuah kompleks kilang otomotif berteknologi hijau di Pekan Pahang. So we click on this one. Okay, over here we can see the project progress checklist is available for us. Similar to the previous version, we need to prepare and complete all of these checklists in order for us to call for tender. So now we can take a look at the first and most important thing inside a tender, which is the tender documents upload. And then we will take a look at the form of tender. Once completed, we will move on to the BQ preparation. And lastly, we will go to recommendation of tender, list of tender, and lastly, calling for tender. Let's start with the tender documents upload. How we do so, we just click on the documents button over here, click on tender documents, and in here, take for example, we wanted to upload a drawing for this particular project. So we scroll down and then we can see drawings tab right under here. Click on option button and then click on open. And then now we can see that this is the new interface for drawing upload page. So what we can do now is we click on upload button right over here, click, and then click to add files that related to this project. So now we can see the drawings has already been laid out. We can upload numerous numbers of drawings inside the system depending on the server capabilities and also any form of format inside this upload file section. So what we can do now is we click on the start upload on the internet connection and also the size of the documents. It may vary. Okay, now we can start to see one of the documents has already been uploaded. Another one. There, we have all three documents already uploaded inside the system. So we click anywhere else to move further and then go to the tender documents and form of tender to proceed to the next step. Click on show. So now take for example, inside the form of tender, we wanted to make an amendment on the clauses. So what we can do, we click on the clauses, edit, and then now we can see the clauses are available, laid out nicely for us to take a look at. But take for example, we wanted to change to make an amendments on the clauses number 3. What we can do, we can straight away go to the clauses, click on the clauses and type in whatever things that we wanted to amend. Take for example, I type in ABC over there, and also we can delete it if it's so required. And if we don't want the one specific clause like this one to be inside the form of tender altogether, we can straight away click on delete clause. Or if we wanted to add another new one, we can click on the add new clause. Now take for example, we wanted to prioritize the clause number 6 to be put it into spot number 3. So we can do so by click on this button and drag to have it positioned like so, like that. And then the system will automatically rearrange and renumber every clauses depending on the priority that we just set just now. And then once finished with that one, we click on save button over here. And we can proceed to click on print to verify that everything is in order and we are happy with the form of tender. like so. Okay, take for example, we already happy with this form of tender, so we can proceed to click close and go to the project dashboard. Click on the project dashboard. Over here on the checklist, we can see the statuses that we just completed earlier. Now, let's move on to the BQ preparation. How to do so? We just click on this BuildSpace Pro button over here. And then we will be greeted by the familiar login page for a BuildSpace Pro. Like so, I have uploaded a bills inside the system because take for example, the developer team has already arranged to have a consultant to undertake this job. So they probably have already uploaded a bills of quantities inside the system. So now we can examine it by double click on the bill, and then we can observe here is multiple numbers of elements inside the system has been already prepared. So let's take, for example, we go and take a look in the frame section over here. And also the items is laid out nicely with the description, the units, the quantities, and also the rates right over here. Okay, once we are happy with this BQ, we can go to the back to the element list and print out the BQ for us to examine before being sent out to the contractors to be priced. And if we are happy with that BQ, we can go to the click here, publish to tender, and then we can proceed to publish this tender. Yes. So we have the tender documents inside the ready for tender. Click refresh, and then we can see the checklist here as indicated that we finished with the BQ preparation. So now left with these 3 steps, which is interrelated. So we need to complete this step one by one before we can proceed to calling for tender. So how we can do so, we just click on the tendering button and go to recommendation of tenderer. And inside here, proceed to click tender button over here. And then we can proceed to input the calling tender date, calling closing date, completion period, budget, procurement method, targeted date of site possession, take to allow contractor to propose on completion period if we so require, disable tender rate submission also, and lastly, the technical evaluation. We need also to set the contract limits. Take for example, for this particular project, I've set to 2 million. And then tick on the select verifier if any. And lastly, over down here, we can proceed to select contractor who are interested to join the tender. So what we can do is just click on the assign contractors button over here and then select whatever contractors that are interested in joining this particular tender. Take for example, for this project, BuildSpace contractor 1, 5, 2, 4, and 3 are interested to join. So we can proceed to click on save button over here. And we will have the list of contractors interested to join the tender down here. We can also send an expression of interest to further have a declaration of their interest towards the system, towards the tender, I'm sorry. And then we can change the status here from pending to yes, depending on their replies. Take for example, everyone here said yes, and then we can proceed to click on submit. Give it a few seconds and then click yes. Okay, now we can progress. We can make a progress and we can click on the list of tenders over here. List of tenders is basically the same as recommendation of tender, but we have a remarks column over here for us to fill and also the status log over here. So once we completed with this one, we can click on submit, wait for a few seconds and click yes. Now we reach the end of this list of tenderers before we can proceed to calling for tender. So we need to make sure that everything in here is as what we want it to be. So we again recheck on the calling tender date, check on the closing date, everything is ticked and is in order. The status is yes, and then we can straight away go to click submit button over here. And then we can click on yes. So now basically the tender is available and active for the contractors to key in their price and in other words to perform their tender. Okay, so let's move on. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our brief session for the introduction to BuildSpace version 3. We just looked at the preparation to receive the updates. Then we have a peek at our new features, which is the dashboard, and finally a brief walkthrough on how to use the system. We at BuildSpace sincerely hope with the outcome of this presentation is achieved by all attendees today. We really wish the attendees today will brief the management and also to the person in charge on the new updates that we just rolled out. So if you have further inquiries on our new updates, please feel free to send us an email at support@pck.com.my and we will be able to assist you with your inquiries. Thank you so much for lending me your ears and spending your time attending this briefing. We wish you all the very best of luck for your endeavor and looking forward for a much merrier future together. Happy weekends and stay healthy. Thank you for joining us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have further inquiries, please do not hesitate to give us a email at support@pck.com.my. Again, hope you all have a very good weekend and please stay healthy and stay indoors. Thank you very much.